What's up, YouTube? Back once again, and this time I'm thinking, first round is pretty much over for everybody. So what's a better time than to try to give out or to try to think further ahead in the future of some previews of the matchups, and the one that's on my mind since we just got done with their game not too long ago is this Miami versus New York Knicks, and I think of this next round. Well, I feel like anytime you have New York in it, it has a chance to be exciting. So it's already that. So you already got to think of like the atmosphere of the Garden and all that versus the Miami Heat, I guess atmosphere, and I think they have a good atmosphere. Obviously just watching from TV, I think they have a really good atmosphere, but I think it's really conducive from the fact that see New York is just like them having a good team. Miami it's like it's you feel it from the team. Like it's Jimmy Butler and how you feel from that more so than the Knicks is like it feel like it's collective in a different way. Like yes, there's Brunson and you got and if Randall's able to play, you got Randall and it's Barrett and you got some small time dudes on the team. But you feel good because it's like oh the team hit a three, the team hit a three. But whereas Miami is like yes, you got people on there that can like, oh, they can make shots and stuff like that. But you feel the grind and you feel the way that Jimmy battles, and I feel like that what makes that atmosphere go more so. But either way, I was like, you're gonna have two crowds that I feel like are gonna be in it, but they really match up really well. They're both really grinded out type teams, um, not necessarily great at jump shots, like 3 point shots and stuff like that. Um, and they don't necessarily get they don't really either one don't really get like their buckets like they both play defense to get their offense. And so the runs in this game won't be I feel like so frequent of back and forth. Um, I don't feel I like like Sacramento and Golden State, their stuff seems like fast paced, quick going, a lot of three balls in there. The defense and they spread out. Whereas like with Miami and New York, their defense does create their offense, but they're not always fast paced like that. I was like New York more so. I was like I feel like a lot of times with their second unit they can be, uh, or if Josh Hart gets the break going, he's really good on their fast breaks. He seems like he does a lot more one man or he's able to be out there. But you got Toppin who can jump out the gym, so he's able to initiate that really well as well. And uh, but whereas like Miami uh theirs isn't I was like maybe because they don't have as many young dudes like that in the same way that theirs is more it's more like set up. You do get I mean because you I think if Hero was here it'd probably change how I sort of think about it because you got people like Struce and Vincent who are some or who are dudes that can that do that pop up three type stuff. Um, Love isn't in that mode. Um, Whereas the Knicks are a lot more going towards the basket. Um, I was like Kyle Lowry can sort of do both. We'll see how this one goes with him. Uh, but I just think they match up all really well. And it's really I was like down low with Bam and Mitchell. That'll be a good matchup because Mitchell isn't offensive like Bam, but he's a solid rebounder and he's active on defense. But Bam is also active on defense, but he can also take jump shots. So that's going to be a good matchup there. I was like I'm trying to think of more at like the guard spots and I think that will be. I mean, I think Brunson will have. I mean, obviously Brunson has the advantage on that end, but But the thing is that their guard can also get it going and heat up to where I think that they could play them close. If you could play them close, because the thing is with Cleveland is that Mitchell and Garland would have stretches where they wasn't hitting the shots, and and I was like, but they're not doing anything to also make sure that they got themselves going. Mitchell would just keep just shooting jump shots to get himself going, whereas I feel like Miami, like those dudes, I was like, they'll go to the basket, they'll go to the hole, they'll get open shots, and they're not just making shots for themselves all the time to get going. That also probably had to do a lot with Spo, who that's where I feel like this game could have. I mean, this series could have a change, is because I feel like the teams match up a little bit. It's different. I was like, I think Jimmy of a top player is better than what Brunson or a healthy Randall will be able to give you. But the Knicks have I was like, they got so many people, so many of their people that play really well in their roles. Not saying that Miami doesn't, and not that saying that Miami doesn't, but I guess it's the way. I guess that's like how I'm trying to look at them in my head. Of I feel like that is really Spo's design of getting them in their spots, compared to the Knicks actually having like dudes that know their spots but are capable of more. Like Quickly didn't have like the last few games like good games, but he can be a high level scorer. He was like he obviously in the six man and stuff like that, so he could score. Um, you got other people, and I'm like Toppin probably is going to have to uh, put up more minutes, and Stein, just because if Randall's not able to go, then they're going to open up more of a big man rotation there. Um, I was like Hart. You always know what you're going to sort of get out of him. To me, he's like an Iguodala type. Like 12, 15. Not saying he can't get more, but five assists, 6, 7 rebounds. Um, but I just feel like the ceiling is just it's just one of them games that's just like the way Jimmy Butler is playing right now, Mr. Buckets, uh, Mr. J, is playing right now, that he can pretty much just win the series by himself. I think no matter how the Knicks really play, to me, you're gonna have to have RJ play how he played the last couple games. Brunson's going to have to be on this game, because they have like the Heat doesn't have, like I said, they don't have like like Strus was bad last game, but Vincent was good that game. So and I was like Duncan was okay last game, but the game before that he was really good. Uh, Oladipo, you can't you there's no telling about him at this rate. Yeah, like I said, Hero's not going to be around. Kevin Love played really well last game, and he's been also consistent too. He gives you about like three threes, and he could keep him on the floor and playing with Bam. And even though he fouled out, he's still a smart player, knowing like basically how to play, even though he's not. I mean, he was never like agile, quick on the feet, but he's smart enough and intelligent enough to be in spots. But you don't have to worry about defense in the same way as with the Bucks, with Lopez, who can step out, hit a three, be inside, is moving, and also moving off of how Giannis is coming crashing into the paint and doing his little spin move and just taking it over you, and also Bobby Portis, who can also shoot the three, also play in the post. And I was like, the way their dynamic is not how this Knicks team is going to play, because their big men aren't like that. Like I said, there's also, Randall had been, and I was like, because he had the ankle, had it been great this series, but he was an all star. Um, I just wanted to bring that up because Brunson should have been an all star. I didn't understand that, but I was like, but he is a threat of like moving with the ball. I was like, he can go to the basket. He can shoot off the dribble and shoot the three. That makes him a lot more dynamic than the other dude that will have it where I'm like, Bam would have to be on him more so the game where Love would have to be on Robertson. I think that would create matchups and that sort of problem. But it would create matchup on the other side that would be a problem too, just because Bam and Kevin Love being perimeter dudes that can also play in the paint. I was like, then they got a guard on that other end. I was like, I could see, I was like, I feel like a lot of the big men are sort of going to be foul like trouble in this series on both sides. Like I said, this one to me is really just on Jimmy Butler, because I think the teams are closer than what it seems. Even though, if I probably list on my hands of like options of the Knicks versus options of the Heat, but I also feel like that's because there's name value in the Knicks versus the Heat, where I'm like I said, Randall, Brunson, Barrett. You could throw quickly in there. So that's at least four dudes who I bet you if you ask anybody, they would be like, oh, they can get buckets. They might not know maybe the rest of the crew. And I'll throw in Hart. I'll throw in Hart in there too. Where I'm like, their name value in that. Where I'm like, if you look here on the Heat, it's really Jimmy Butler. People will say something about Kevin Love. You'll say a bit about Bam and maybe Duncan Robinson. I feel like that's more for a negative approach than anything. After that, you the guy get that up the SPO at that point, because he just be putting them in matchups. But there's Kyle Lowry. There's Kyle Lowry. He's been playing better the last few games as well too. Yeah, this is just one. This is just one where I just don't see it being obvious. Which I mean, I guess that's what it's supposed to be at this sort of level. But I feel like it'd be a gritty 6 games. But I feel like Jimmy Butler is going to be the reason why the Heat take this series more so than anything. Don't get me wrong, Brunson can get hot, but I think they got enough. I think what they're going to try to do is throw enough people at them, at Brunson, and at their big man. Then I feel like they can throw at Jimmy Butler. Jimmy is going to match up on RJ and Hart, and that's going to be an all-day affair for those two. Whereas you got Gabe, you got Strus. I was like, Duncan not a good defender, but he'll run you on offense if they allow him to. And you got Lowry. So you got some people to sort of like make Brunson work for them points, and he's also shown that he can struggle early on in these series. And I'm like, if you struggle early on with somebody like the Heat in a grinded out game, I was like, that works in their favor. I feel like just as much, but the Knicks, when they get rolling and they're able to play defense and get on some fast break transitions, they're also very hard to beat. Anyway, but looking forward to that series, probably the most out of the rest of the matchup so far. But anyway, if you like any of this that I'm saying, in this preview talk, I appreciate it. Thanks. If not, hey, maybe next time or in other videos. But until then, peace. I'm out.